right, so that was how it ended 2-2. It was a very strange game of football. Chelsea were in the lead. It looked like they were going to see out a victory. Then Brentford hit back and then led by 2-1. And suddenly Chelsea were chasing the game. Sitso, I'm going to show this to you. We've been here before, not once, not twice. Pretty much the story of the whole season.
It's not going to be the last time we have seen it as well. I think it's down to the inconsistencies in the side. And we've said it before, when you build a team like Chelsea have done, you put yourself at risk of having these kind of results where you've got great individual players, but the lack of experience, the lack of balance in the team in terms of character, in terms of ability and drive and leadership can bring some of these results about. So Chelsea can score 2, but they will concede 2, and maybe they wouldn't have the extra urge to go on and win the games. So they'll win some games this season, but they will lose a lot more, draw some games, and they won't be able to compete. And like you said, we've been here before. It's not about the quality of players on the pitch. It's just about the fact that it's not a well-rounded team. And the manager, Pochettino, who didn't necessarily have a hand in the players who came into the club, is struggling to find any consistency.
After £1 billion spent, like when I watch Chelsea, it doesn't even... In fact, yesterday? I was having a conversation with someone, and it dawned on me that we could form a combined 11 of Chelsea and Man United players, and they would probably lose 5-0 to Man City.
Yeah. Look, interesting you said that, but what Chelsea is doing and what Man United have done over the past, 10 years since Ferguson left, just proves that it's not about a collection of stars. It's not about going around and blowing money. You have to do it with a plan. You have to do it with a proper plan, a proper tried and tested plan. And for every football team, all the serious teams out there, there's a clear blueprint on how to purchase players, how to build teams and reap the results. We've seen Real Madrid do it over the years. We've seen Manchester City do it. We've seen Liverpool do it. We've seen all the big teams do it, and they reap results at the end of the day. There's a way it's done. Even Manchester United with Ferguson, there was a way that he built teams. He didn't just get up one summer and throw money on the best talent out there. Yeah. It has to be systematic. Whilst you keep some of the experienced guys, you slowly introduce them in, you blend them in, so that by the time they are supposed to be ready in terms of age, they'll be able to match up with the best of the best. But Chelsea haven't done that, and unfortunately, you see a lot of top-class potential on the pitch, but you don't know when they are going to give their best. And
you don't even know if you should give them time or get rid of them.
And you see, that's a funny...
And the big one is, build up to it for me.
That's a confusion that Chelsea find themselves in. Chelsea literally have... It's like you go back to 2004, 2005 with Manchester United. Everybody knew Rooney was the brightest talent, English talent. Everybody knew Ronaldo was one of the best young talents in the world. Yet, they were not playing week in, week out. They were not starting games week in, week out. And that's the thing about Chelsea. You look at the talent and you know that these guys are good. But the thing about young players is that they are very inconsistent. And it's not their fault. It's just how the game is. So if you put them there, you start expecting results. We could reach a point where in the next 4 or 5 years, where Chelsea think the players will reach maturity stage, they will still be like this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you're going to say
I was going to say that, and again, back to Chelsea, if you listen to players like Solomon Kalou, players like Mikel Obi, they'll always tell you that when they got to the club, it was that Didier Drogba figure that got them, together because they had somebody to look up to. You wonder who these young Chelsea players are looking up to. And these things do matter. So Chelsea have put together a lot of young, talented footballers, but football of teams are more than just the talent. So like Ronaldo and Rooney came, there was still Ryan Giggs, there was still Paul Scholes, there were Edwin van der Sar came later on, Van Nistelrooy was there. Some other players who would take the pressure of these young kids were there. And in the end, they would play without pressure, they would master their game and learn their crafts. And by the time it's their turn to lead, they would have had experience from those that they came to meet at the club. Enzo, Caicedo, have to be the leaders of the club.
I wanted to ask you guys very quickly, and you mentioned, that's the question I was going to ask you before, about the conflict, like Chelsea fans being conflicted, or even the whole Chelsea board being conflicted about what to do with the players. One of them is Nicolas Jackson. He scored 8 goals this season. But when you watch the kid, I mean, for some other player, for some other attacker, you might be willing to say, okay, that's a good return so far. But when you watch him, and you watch the amount of chances he's missing, and you even watch his overall contribution, you start to ask yourself, is it someone you have to have patience for? Is this someone you get rid of?
Look, Fent, you know me, and I don't let my standards fall. He's a Chelsea striker, first of all. I don't care where he was before, but once he puts on that blue jersey,
he has to deliver.
He has to deliver. He's a Chelsea. Eight goals at this stage in the season for a Chelsea striker is
for a striker of a top team.
For a top team. It's mightily poor. Look, back in the day, this is probably what the Chelsea's second or third striker will be hitting.
Agreed.
8 goals by this point.
Even Kalu would have 8 goals.
Yeah, you can't be at this stage, early March, and you have 8 goals, and you are the top goal scorer in it. It's pathetic, honestly. It makes no sense at all.
But what Danny says is back to the point. It's not a Jackson problem, it's a Chelsea problem.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, 8 goals for a Chelsea striker probably be a second choice striker. You're wondering if Chelsea had a better, more experienced striker and Jackson was a second choice striker. It would do him a world of good because you have no pressure on him. He will come into games and he will score. He's got pace. Imagine introducing Jackson into games 65th minute, 70th minute when defenders are tiring. He's got a pace to get past them. And if he's playing in a team that is more balanced, a team that has more experienced heads, he's probably scoring 15 goals coming off the bench because he gets himself in these positions. But when he has to be the focal point, when he knows that the whole pressure of the club in terms of getting the goals is on him, you wonder if he has the right shoulders to carry that burden. I think the answer is no.
And for me, the biggest problem is not him, actually. It's Chelsea. Why is Chelsea's number 1 striker a bench warmer for the Senegal national team? Make that make sense. Let's go to